Hey guys, and welcome to one of the most ridiculous training or farming methods in Runescape, Ripper Demon barraging. Anyways, when you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy. This method requires at least 99 combat stats. You do not want to have anything lower than 99 magic and 99 defense. You'll want overloads, curses, the slayer level requirement, and at least 70 plus invention. These are not recommendations, these are requirements for this method because otherwise there's no point in doing it. Here are some useful things. Now in my opinion, if you don't have the things in red, don't even bother doing this method because you're just going to die constantly. Quick rundown of the red things. Ancient spells are required because this is a legacy blood barraging method. As for the Unicorn Stallion, that's why you need 88 summoning. This is your primary way of healing, as it is the only way of healing that doesn't interrupt your combat in legacy. Next up is a Vampirism Aura, obviously, and a Royal Dwarf Cannon or an Oldak Coil, which is why you needed level 70 Invention. And perked out gear, something we'll get to in just a bit. Now all the other things in white are going to help you a lot, but aren't required per se, and I'll talk a little bit about them while we're talking about the method. Ripper Demons are level 131 combat slayer creatures that give you over 2,000 common experience per kill and over 2.7 thousand slayer experience per kill. They can be assigned by Kuradel, Morvan, and Leniakia, aka Kiergrill, and they can be poisoned, which is why Weapon Poison +++ is important here. And Cinderbanes, of course. As for the drops, they're already quite good, even if you kill them one-on-one in your personal own Slayer dungeon, or perhaps just right there in Al-Kharid. But the thing that makes Ripper Demons so incredibly profitable is the fact that it's pretty much the best familiar for PvM, and people use them constantly, and with binding contracts you can catch their soul and turn them into a familiar pouch, or binding contract. This is an update that came with Archaeology, and it requires level 68 Archaeology to get these binding contracts after having completed the Dagon by Mystery. I do have a guide for these on my channel, so feel free to check that out if you're interested. You can then create a binding contract with 2 Hellfire Metal, 2 Blood of Orcus, 1 Pouch, 1 Blue Charm, and 200 Spirit Shards. Now the method you're seeing on screen isn't the most efficient way of making them, just putting it out there, but I quickly just wanted to go there without a preset and make myself a couple of hundred of these for a few Ripper Demon tasks. For those wondering, each Ripper Demon binding contract made or created will give you a profit of 81,000 GP. Let that sink in for a second. 81,000 GP per binding contract, and you're killing them with AoE spells. Just wait until you see what this method is like. Here's the gear setup I recommend. Now the Inquisitor staff is a best in slot staff at Ripper Demons. I didn't test it with a Noxious staff personally, but I'm sure you can make it work. You'll just have to move a little bit more when they do end up jumping. As for your armor, I wouldn't go anything below Virtus at all. No exceptions. You'll want an Illuminated Book of Chaos, aka the Zami book with pages inside because you'll be using them. Cinderbanes, 100% use Cinderbanes. Blast Diffusion boots or any other DPS boots for magic you might have. And a Ring of Death unless you want to lose a lot of money when you die. As for the inventory setup, if you want it to be a little more clean and you want to camp Ripper Demons for longer, what you can do is bring more spiritual prayer potions instead of the grimy herb drops, wine of Zamorak, and so on, because this way you'll have more inventory space for those potions and you can last longer if you are doing these off task. You could do these off task with this method, I just wouldn't recommend it. As for the perk setup, I would recommend at least having the recommended perks you can see on screen. Those, in my opinion, are the bare minimum to do this method, and to the right of that are slightly better or perhaps even best in slot perks here. If you're wondering, I recorded all of my footage without the best in slot perks. I pretty much had the bare minimum you can see on screen, and it did work perfectly fine. Before we get into the magic barraging method, I want to give a quick mention to the chinning method, also using all that coil, which is very similar but requires a lot more effort. This method is good for kills per hour, and you can get over 600 kills per hour using this method. I did try it a few times, but it was just too annoying to keep my defenses up, and eventually every 7 minutes or so, I ended up having to leave the area, which wasn't very pleasant. The method we're about to cover is cheaper in terms of input costs, but is slightly lower in terms of kills per hour, but it's also a lot safer and easier to do right. That being said, this method is not easy and it has high requirements for a reason, and it also requires you to pay attention 100% of the time. If you blink, if you don't pay attention, there's a good chance you'll be dead in the next few seconds. Before going to the area, right click your incense sticks and overload on them, and then click them once more to have around 20 minutes of time on extra poison damage. To get there, walk from the Alcarid Lodestone as seen, go down the little stairs and inside the dungeon or mine. Once here, right click your world map, choose skybox filters, and then choose midday to have a better view of the Ripper demons, especially useful if they end up jumping in the air. Then go back to your combat settings, go to Revolution or Full Manual, then turn on Aerial Loot, give it a keybind you like to use, and then go back into Legacy Combat mode. You're going to be using this keybind to pick up the noted drops mid-combat. You then want to stand in this exact position you see me standing in on screen, move 2 tiles forward on the second swordfish, then left click your all that core in your inventory to place it in the right position. Then all you have to do is stand in this exact position, as you can see, just in the all that core, and then place your dummy. And make it a melee dummy, because otherwise it will break before 10 minutes. You want it to last long so you can keep attacking the center for the Ripper demons to be AoE down. Make sure your familiar and spell interface are open and close to your inventory and you're ready to go. Just don't click your aggression potion and all that coil before you've put your prayers on, overloaded and so on, because otherwise you're going to feel the pain. As you're barraging the dummy, you're killing Ripper demons at a rate of 350 to 500 kills per hour. This depends on how many times you heal and so on. This leads to a combat experience rate of 1 million XP per hour and a Slayer experience rate of 1.2 million experience per hour. The main money you'll be making will be coming from those binding contracts you want to note every few kills. But to avoid death, you need to note your Ripper contracts right after your Blood Barrage attack, and then click on your Blood Barrage spell as fast as you can to continue attacking the dummy. If you don't do this, your character will stand still and the chances of a Ripper demon filling its special bar and doing the jump in the air and instant killing you are going to be miles higher. So you'll have to move around more often and it's going to be less chill to do this method. Let's take a look at this example on screen. This Ripper demon is about to fill up its bar and do a jump. Now I know I'm going to be able to kill this Ripper demon before it fills up its special bar. So what I do is I wait until the attack hits the Ripper demon that kills the one with the high special attack bar. So I wait until I see the Ripper demon die that has the high special attack bar, I quickly note my Ripper demon pouches, and then immediately click on the spell on the spell screen or interface. And then I continue attacking the dummy. This pattern of doing actions must be repeated when eating food, which I don't recommend doing. I recommend healing with the familiar only, and when you want to renew your familiar points by drinking your spiritual prayer potion. Or if you want, you can do 2 in 1, quickly noting your pouches, clicking one of your spiritual prayer potions once, and then immediately clicking on the auto cast button in the spells interface. I hope that makes sense. Now what do you do if a Ripper demon is going to fill its bar completely and you won't be able to kill him in time? Well, quite simply, once he jumps, move out of the way. Then go straight back to your position and click your spell to keep attacking the dummy. Don't try to right click and left click the dummy because you're going to waste time and you will be taking more damage and you won't be healing from your Blood Barrage and Vampirism Aura because you aren't attacking. Now knowing those 2 things already makes you a lot more prepared for Ripper demon barraging than you were before, most likely before watching this video. Now if you want to loot items off the floor, you can simply press your keybind and loot them off the floor without interrupting combat. If you have food with you, eating food will interrupt your combat and means you will be required to click that autocast spell icon in the spells interface again. So try to avoid using food and use your familiar special instead, and be sure to click on the autocast in your spells interface and not try to right click attack the dummy, because it will result in a snowball effect and you will die. Trust me, I've done it plenty of times. Using food is also quite tricky because it delays your attacks as well, so just try and stick to the familiar healing from that unicorn stallion because it doesn't interrupt your attacks and it's really quite chill if you do it that way. And that's how you do this method. As long as you stick to the core rules or core mechanics in Legacy Combat mode, you will be able to do this method with the right gear setup. You will have occasional jumps, it's just unavoidable. At some point you're going to mess a tick up or something up and you're going to have a Ripper Demon jump, which is why you pay attention to the Ripper Demon's adrenaline bar. If you see it getting high, pay very close attention to the jumps, move out of the way, go back into your position, click your auto cast in the spells interface, heal up using your unicorn, take a chill, stay calm, and you will be fine doing this method. It isn't easy, it has high risk, but you're going to be rewarded greatly for doing this method. 1.2 million Slayer experience per hour, 40 million GP per hour or more, 750 Crimsons per hour, and 400 Blue Charms per hour. Those are some serious numbers for a Slayer method. This is by far the best method in the game to train combat with. ED3 doesn't even come close money or charm wise. It does beat this method out by experience, but it does not beat it out by money or charms. And with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it interesting, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.